Now to the numbers. Nobody else will tell you, but I'll show you every single night. The stuff you don't see on the 6 p.m. news, you won't hear on the radio. You will barely have to send a search party out to find it anywhere but here. Here's the latest COVID numbers. The number of tests in the past 24 hours across the whole country, 112,000. It produced 39 cases, but most of those were linked, which means known, which means 0.03% of everyone who felt crook, knew someone who was crook, went somewhere where someone was crook, or just because maybe they wanted a day off if they were somewhere other than Sydney. 0.03%. Of the 25,788,720 people that live in Australia, according to the ABS population clock, more than 6 million still remain locked down, despite 0.03% of everyone who got a test having COVID. And all of those, of course, most of those are known to be other ones. But still, we are at the beginning of a second week of lockdown in Sydney. Of course, the second week of a trapped school holidays and no end in sight, according to the Premier, despite the fact that the data has been exactly the same through all of this. 0.012 or 3% of people who've been tested have COVID.
I know everybody is keen to know what's going to happen beyond Friday's lockdown, as am I. But what I can tell you with certainty is that the next couple of days will be absolutely critical.
I hate this media strategy where they lock you down, they say it's going to be for 2 weeks, they give themselves a gold star because it might end one day earlier, or you spend a couple of days in the week saying we're going to get close to a decision, and then the news is about whether there will be a decision, and then the news is the decision, and then we still have to wait during lockdown. It's madness, it's stupid. We're on top of this. The system is working. People are getting tested. There is not a huge spike in the number of people getting tested who get COVID, and there is no huge examples of it just popping up randomly on the other side of town. We are on top of it. But still, the numbers that nobody else will tell you, of the 423 cases we have in the entire country, including people in hotel quarantine, 75 people are in hospital. But before you get too worried, a huge chunk of those, in fact more than 40 of those, are in Queensland, where anyone who has ever tested positive to coronavirus gets sent to hospital, regardless of how serious or not it is. Yes, there's been a little tick up, but still in a country of 25.7 million people, 7 are in ICU, including one in Victoria today, and there are 0 deaths. Also, as we know, vaccine is the way to take those handcuffs off. 54,000 people had at least one dose in the past 24 hours, a total now of 8.2 million people who have had at least one dose. Yet despite the fact that these numbers are getting better, literally, football stadiums of people getting the vaccine each and every day, you still have idiots like the bloke who never paid a price for the failures around the Ruby Princess, let alone the bloke who wants to tell you that the most dangerous place for the virus is your house. Well, he's, of course, still trying to come up with weird ways to mention movies when it comes to the vaccine rollout, because when all else fails, blame the feds.
I fear that we now have almost a sense now of the Hunger Games, of people chasing vaccine, and until we get enough vaccine and enough GPs actually at the front line able to provide that vaccine into arms, we will continue to have effectively the Hunger Games going on here in New South Wales.
The Hunger Games, a competition where the only way to win it is to kill everyone else? That's the calm and dispassionate emotion being sent by the health hazard in New South Wales.